My name's Tom Huffman of Aikido of Gainesville. What we're going to do today is show you Iikyo and delve into what makes it work. When O-sensei died on his deathbed, he was telling the senior students that this old man has taken Aikido this far, it's up to you to take it farther. Saito sensei did a great job, showed us the foundation of O-sensei. Nisho sensei was always talking about Kaizen and constantly improving. Okay, we're going to look at Katatedori Iikyo. The first section that we're going to look at, geometry within Aikido. First, let's look at Iwama type of technique. And I may not be really pure at it, but I'm pretty close. Step out at night, in on the 45. Driving this in, catching that, sliding in, sliding it to there. This comes into here, kind of flat. And then he'll drive through here, and then he'll come down here with the arm flat. And go like that. And then again. For years now, what I've been doing is turning the arm up to 45 degrees. So I can have a better control and have this come around and then drive down and pin him and then sit down at my leisure. Okay? Then we progressed to a little bit more. In book 3, he starts going through basic techniques in the traditional. This is the old hardback books from 1972 to 75 era, I think. That's kind of what was in that book. Within there's a hiden, or a spoken term from O-sensei about a little twist and then a shove. So there's a little twist, which is a twist to the hips here that draws him down. So I've taken that farther. So this came to here, and then you had to drive to there. I've taken that farther. That had like a stopping effect and blocking the flow of the full technique. So going back to the geometry of what's going on in what I'm teaching. We're stepping out on 45, stepping out at 90 and in on the 45 and a disturber. And then think about Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. So what happens if I shorten b squared? C squared has to buckle. As that starts to buckle, I drop my elbow and twist the hand, which turns his body away and turns his scapula up, and then I can catch the elbow. And I'm already making a lever out of his upper torso. Bring the back heel in, slide to the point of the triangle. Point, point, point. So this being an off-balance point. Now, if I just twist my hip strongly and roll the hand back up toward my hip, I put him completely down. There's no fooling around. There's no chance for him to kaeshi on it. He's already down and stuck. So that's a portion of geometry. Now, we want to look at the bone. Talked a little bit about the bones already. So, you step out at 90 and in on the 45, and you drive this in. That causes that bone to buckle. When I drop my elbow, I twist that off there. And actually where I'm sending my hand is also a point that creates a weakness, and it goes directly back to the weapons Nisho style. Here, if I now send my hand toward his hip, that's going to cause his upper shoulder to turn, and it's going to start to put the stress into his scapula. So it makes him much weaker. As I drop this elbow, I turn this, I gain leverage now on his hand. So I've got a 90 degree at the wrist and a 90 degree at the elbow, and I've got a tremendous leverage now on his shoulder, and his scapula is turned. As I come out to here, I've got him much farther off balance, and when I swing this down in a loop, bring that back up, all I have to do is really turn around, knee in the armpit, and knee at the wrist, there, it's done. I also trade sides with my uke. I don't try to do everything on right side or left side. Now, our third point of view, there's a great review article by Henry Kono. He was a Japanese over in Japan in the 60s. and he was trying to learn what O-sensei was doing. And at a party, after O-sensei was getting pretty happy and willing to talk, he said to him, "Sensei, how's come the senpai, nobody else can throw the way that you do?" And he looked at him with a little bit of a scowl, and then he smiled and said, "You don't understand Yin and Yang." So we've got a number of Yin and Yangs around this building. And so this is the other. The Kung Nu has a Yin and Yang in their symbol. We have Taekwondo here, and they're up front. There's the Korean flag has Yin and Yang in it. There's Yin and Yang throughout this building. This third section, we're going to talk about the Yin and Yang. And I showed that there's Yin and Yang throughout this building. When I read that article, it just made a whole lot of sense. That figure, the Yin and Yang, is not two-dimensional. And it's actually a solid sphere. And the halves fit together. What the Yin and Yang is opposite. So it's good and bad, man and woman, up and down, in and out, left and right, opposite. So you could say that the line between the two is the odd, the ones that have more of the other side. But also the dot that is there is, since there's some good in the bad and there's some bad in the good. Or there's some of the opposite in each side. Something to meditate on. It's very profound, very profound. In looking at the yin and yang within the techniques, you want to think of we're enveloped in the sphere, like Aikido in the dynamic sphere, but it's beyond that. It's not just one ball or one sphere, it's multiple spheres moving together within it. So when we're looking at Ikkyo, and I step out here at 90, in on the 45, when I'm coming in like this, now there's a straight line. Watch how his body, see how his body's turning? And the elbow is kind of going through an arc, and that's a part of it. And also, when I spin and I take the arm down and I spin around me, that's throwing him around me. So he's like the outside of the sphere. Actually, boundaries between them. He's one side, I'm the other side. And it's flowing around me. To get a better view of what's happening, he's going to use a ball to show the path happening. So really, it starts up at the top. It starts up at the top. When this comes up, see, this is going in an arc up here. So as this is going up, that's going in an arc there. And then when it comes down, the arc is down here. So it's kind of like the sphere rolled over to come around. Very profound. Okay, in looking at this ball, it doesn't have the opposite. It doesn't have the yellow through it or the red through here. But if you could visualize that and think about that, what's that going to be like when those two cross? Because this is solid. We're talking solid. So when the red crosses the yellow, what do you have? There you go. That's something for you to meditate on for a while. I've already meditated. I'm not going to push it on you. If we think back about what I just showed in the Ikkyo, about that coming up, it's following a seam up and then coming down here and around the bottom of that. That's the edge. But it can also be the center, because it could be a different, bigger ball. Nothing is set in stone here. There's a lot to think about here about the yin and yang. And, when I was over in Japan for the Nisho Remembrance Seminar, I was asking the senpai, because I never heard of Nisho talk about yin and yang, so I was asking the senior senpai about it. And the answer for everyone was immediate and all the same. No, never. He never talked about yin and yang. And I doubt the Saito sensei really talked about yin and yang. So I think this may be a super clue that was hidden, something to think about, something to consider. And I think Henry Kono gave us a huge, huge clue of what was going on. Let's look at that Ikkyo again, once more. So I've kind of been going down and just letting him get away. But the idea is not to let him just get away. I can take him right down into the pin, and the pin comes almost immediately. So when I come into here, and and I drive this up into here, and that rolls around, and I step to the point of the triangle, and I bring him down, he's done. There's my knee. I didn't really have to step. Let's look at it again. I don't have to step. I don't have to follow it. I just twist my hips and take him around. He's done. Go ahead, try to get away. So, he's done. Toast. I call that three-part harmony. So we looked at the bones, we looked at the geometry, and we looked at the yin and yang. And they all flow together all the time. I think it's really great. Thank you.